Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Greetings and salutations, and a big warm welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. It's hot here in the UK, and lucky for you, it's an audio-only podcast, because you really don't want to see me in my shorts and flip-flops. Speaking of which, what is it about men walking around offices in flip-flops? I don't know if it's my inner grumpy old man kicking in, but staring at a screen in a corporate environment and listening to the sound of a flip-flop smacking someone's heel grates on me a little. But hey, maybe that's just the heat. Remember a few weeks ago when I told you I won the World Cup on FIFA by playing as England and finishing second in the group and then beating Colombia? Could the video game world actually be a premonition? Probably not. But enough of my ramblings. We all have read so many stories about AI. But I've uncovered something that recently blew me away with a company called GrokStyle. And essentially they're an AI solution for retail. And their core technology is a deep learning based visual search that's tailored for retail. And in a nutshell, imagine taking a picture of something that you like, whether it be a chair or a piece of furniture, anything at all. And then the app will instantly tell you where you can buy something similar or the identical item. I mean, how cool is that? Well, let's find out more. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to the US so we can speak with Kavita Bala, who's going to tell us all about the tech behind GrokStyle. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Thank you for having me. I'm Kavita Bala. I'm a professor in the computer science department at Cornell University, and I'm actually going to start as the chair of the department on July 1st, so just in a few days. My research in computer science is actually in two different areas of computer science, computer vision and computer graphics. Computer vision is the field of computer science where computers take images and try to understand what is in them. Now, for human beings, this is actually a very natural process, but getting a computer to figure out how to do that, that's the whole area of research of computer vision. And computer graphics is actually a complementary field where you get the computer to create virtual worlds that look indistinguishable from reality. I sit in both of these areas because one of the more key motivators for me is that I'm fascinated by how human beings perceive and understand the visual world around them. And so this interest I have in human perception has driven my research for the past 15 years as a faculty member at Cornell.
It's incredibly exciting what you're doing at the moment, because when I first read about your technology at GrokStyle, it completely blew my mind. Essentially, you enable your customers to find out exactly what they're looking for. In a nutshell, you open an app or visit the web or upload a picture of anything at all, and from any angle and any style. And my understanding is that the GrokStyle service immediately returns the closest match, including the object itself or ones very like it. I mean, can you offer an overview of GrokStyle and the story behind it? It's incredibly exciting.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we were very excited when we first started working on this. So I'll give you a bit of a history of it. It came out of research that I have been working on with my then PhD student, Sean Bell. Sean and I were both working at Cornell on this work, and Sean has since, of course, graduated, and now he is the CEO of the company. I am the chief scientist. So Sean and I, this was around 2013, we were working on research on understanding materials in the world, and so taking pictures of the real world scenes and recognizing materials in them. And to build up that part of the research, we were browsing through various image collections of different houses and different interior settings, because there's such a rich variety of materials in indoor settings. And so we're looking at lots of images of these. And often we would come across designer images where designers are showing off interiors of houses they have designed. And while we were just looking through all of these images, we would notice that in the comments section, just random people, consumers, or people who were looking at these designers' photos would ask questions like, this is a really great kitchen, or this is a really great bedroom. I would love to get that lamp or that table or that chair. Where can I find it? And sometimes the designer would manually go in and remember to answer the question. And sometimes the question would just remain unanswered. And this gave us the idea of developing GrokStyle's core technology, which is based on this idea of visual search. So the core technology is that you take a picture of anything and we will tell you immediately what that item is that you took a picture of and where you can find it. And that's sort of how the whole idea for the company started. Then Sean graduated. The company moved to San Francisco, and we've got now a 11-person team, and we're running our operations from San Francisco, working with various clients and retailers.
Now, as a tech guy, I immediately want to know what's going on under the hood. So when you take that photo and it knows what it is. So can you tell me more about that technology and how it works and how it's improved since you very first launched?
Absolutely. So GrokStyle's technology is based on deep learning, and there's been a lot of interest in this area of deep learning, and particularly the AI revolution. So there's a lot of discussion about how artificial intelligence is going to change how all aspects of human endeavor, really. It's having a huge impact right now, whether it's from self-driving cars, medical diagnoses, various aspects of how we live our lives. So the AI revolution has really been taking off, and AI comes and goes in computer science history, but there's a big lot of activity around the space right now because of deep learning technology. So deep learning technology was actually around from the late 80s, but at that time there was not this amazing amount of data, image data that we have online now with people posting their photographs. There wasn't the amount of compute we have now available. Essentially, each of us walks around with what is the equivalent of a supercomputer around in our phones and in our laptops, where in the 80s that level of computation did not exist. So starting in 2012, there's been a revolution going on because all of this data of images, text, and speech has all been getting ingested and been combined with great algorithms on the deep learning side to come up with these new solutions that are driving all of the innovation that I was talking about in artificial intelligence. So how do deep learning algorithms work? They essentially take a lot of images, and they, by the way, compute for a long time. So our algorithms will train for 2 weeks or even more, steadily building up an understanding of all the objects that we can recognize. But they will, and 2 weeks on large supercomputers. So the deep learning algorithm takes a lot of images, and they learn models that can recognize each item in an image. So I've sort of used this analogy in the past of thinking of it as a large map. So there's a very, very large map, and every object in the world, every person, every item has a very distinctive appearance that determines where it sits in the map. And things that look a lot like that particular item will sit in the same part of the map, and things that look very different will go to very different parts of the map. And so what the deep learning algorithm does is it takes all of these images, chugs away on a very large amount of computation to then arrive at an understanding of what this map is and where every item will locate itself. So where in the map an item should sit. Once you do all of this training, you have this map. When a new person comes with a new picture that they take on their cell phone, say of a chair, then what our algorithm will do is says, oh, this picture you took, this is sort of its fingerprint, or this is its location in the map. I'm going to drop it right there. And gee, I look around in that part of the map, and it looks like you were looking up an Eames chair or a Poang chair, because that's the part of the world that has all the Eames chair or the Poang chairs. And so that's how the algorithm figures out that it's a chair. And in fact, it's a very specific chair. It'll be, say, IKEA's Poang chair.
I'm glad you mentioned Chair and IKEA there, because GrokStyle's visual search tech has already recently made it into IKEA's AR app. But can you tell me more about the relationship with IKEA and the nature of that integration with, I think it's IKEA Place?
Yes, IKEA has been leading actually in the visual computer graphics domain for a long time. I don't know if you know this, but most of IKEA's catalog, which is very famous, lots of people love the IKEA catalog, is actually generated on a computer. They're computer-generated images and not photographs right now. Oh. And this is, they've been innovating on this for a long time. So Martin Enthead, who's one of the people who leads that effort, had reached out to me when he saw us publish our paper on the research that was GrokStyle's core technology. So he was very intrigued by how well our algorithm worked, and he wanted to try it out within IKEA. He set up introductions within IKEA to various groups, and particularly we reached out to, at some point, got connected to Michael Valsgaard, who heads the IKEA augmented reality app. So obviously, IKEA cares deeply about how people interact with furniture and how they want to create tools and technologies that will help people visualize their furniture so that they are comfortable buying it. So the IKEA augmented reality app, which is designed, headed by Michael and designed with another company called Twinkles, lets people visualize furniture in situ in their homes. So that was the augmented reality Place app. And when Michael saw our technology, he got super excited. They'd been looking at different visual search solutions, but nothing worked at the accuracy that GrokStyle was able to provide. And the moment he saw it, he saw the potential of having visual search in his app. So the idea would be you could take out the IKEA app and say you're in your friend's home or you're at a cafe or you're even browsing the IKEA catalog. If you like something, you take a picture of it and GrokStyle will immediately find exactly what that item is. And if IKEA has a 3D model of it, then in fact you can take that model and plop it down in the context of your own home and say, gee, if I were to buy the sofa or if I were to buy this chair, this is how it's going to look. I think I like it. Yeah, I'm going to buy it.
Fantastic. So why do you think the retail is the best marketplace for GrokStyle? And in particular, the furniture market, because it seems to be outstanding in there, doesn't it?
Right. That's a great question. That was a choice that we made early on. Yeah. Retail is ready to be disrupted right now. Amazon and Amazon is a giant, and it's been putting a lot of pressure on retailers. And a few years ago, retailers were actually in something of a funk where they were worried that Amazon would put them out of business. But they realized that they needed to innovate to meet the challenges of future retail. And in fact, there's a lot of now recognition within the community. So we were recently where there was this idea of the new retail, which is going to be driven by artificial intelligence, AI, new AI technologies that will result in a better consumer experience. So retail is right at that point where it recognizes that it needs to be disrupted, and it is going to be disrupted. And it is an area, particularly furniture is one example, fashion is another example, and I'll talk a bit about that. But they're both examples where the visual aspect of the item you're buying is something you care about deeply. So for furniture particularly, we care a lot about how a particular item will look. Of course, we care also about how it feels. So that's why we often will want to go, try out our sofas, etc., and work with our local retailer. But we care a lot about the style of the object and of the furniture we're buying. And on the flip side, people are very style challenged. Most people are very uncomfortable making very bold stylistic choices on furniture because they know they're going to have to live with the consequences for a long time. So it's a perfect place where the visual interface matters a lot, and people care a lot about, they look at a lot of images, browse through lots of designs before they pick the final one that works. And that's why we picked furniture as the first place in which we wanted GrokStyle's visual search technology to go out. Going from furniture, the next step is actually going also into fashion, which is another area where visual appearance matters a lot. And in fact, I'm doing research at Cornell. We call this, there's a project called Street Style, where we're trying to understand how people dress differently around the world and across different periods of time. And all of this kind of visual technology, I think, can play a huge role both in furniture and fashion. And so retail, we think, is one of the big areas where we can have a big impact.
And GrokStyle really does seem to be perfect for consumers. I mean, I just love the idea that if I see something I like, I can take a photo of it and then find an item that, if it's not exactly the same, it's something remarkably similar. But it also opens up exciting opportunities for retailers on a global scale. So I've got to ask, I mean, are you working with any other big retailers and getting a lot of attention from them as well?
So the answer is yes. After our public launch, particularly, we've had a lot of inbound traffic of people, and some of them are big names. Unfortunately, we are not at a liberty to reveal their names right now, but they are across the world. And it's been actually very exciting for us that it has been such a global, has had such a global impact. Normally, a startup doesn't start off with its first public launch in 50 different countries or 50 plus countries. And so, we have the team that actually could put together a product that could work there. And sure enough, our incoming interest is from all over the world, and we have been very excited by that attention.
So what's your immediate roadmap for visual search, and how do you see that technology and the services that you're offering actually evolving over the next few years?
Yeah, absolutely. So visual search we see as a core foundational technological block on which we're building other services, AI services for retailers in general. So particularly, there are three different things that go beyond visual search that we offer, three different products that we offer to our the retailers and our clients that we're working with. So one is actually just inspirational photography. As I mentioned, that people are very style challenged. So even though they may see a product, if you show them many designer photos and various images in which people, even regular consumers, have shown use cases of this sofa or shown different interesting pairings of the sofa with the lamp, then they get inspired to make interesting and good style choices. So we are exposing this kind of when consumer searches for a product, when anybody searches for a product, we immediately not only show them that product, what we found, but we also show photos where designers have used them so that they can look at that for inspiration. So that's our first product. The other is actually a recommendation system. So once we have, this is a unique advantage that GrokStyle has, we have all of these designer photographs where there are pairings. So this sofa, which might be a beige color, might go with this slightly edgy red lamp, or will go with this blue wingback chair. Those kinds of combinations are something that designers have curated and they have a very good understanding for. We are able to, using AI, then expose this to our clients and say, you might want to pair these two together. So we can give them complementary suggestions of products that they might like. And our third product is in business intelligence. So once we now have all of our users taking photographs of things that they like in the world, we actually have an understanding of their tastes and the styles, and that they knowledge then to retailers, say, look, all of your clients really seem to be excited these days about this particular kind of an item, and you might want to think about offering something in that space. So there's a suite of artificial intelligence based tools, AI based tools, that I think will really enrich the consumer experience, because it gets to their style and their personal taste and then gives them answers for their style and their taste that hopefully they will like, and help them have a better shopping experience and just better life experience, because they can fill their lives with beautiful things that they actually like.
So when you talk someone through searching for products by just taking a photo for the very first time, do you still get a kick out of their reaction? And if you do, do you think that this is also the moment where you've actually raised the bar of their expectation level as a consumer? And if you've done that, then anybody that doesn't provide that same level of service is going to get left behind quite quickly, aren't they?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really exciting. I remember one particular interaction where we had these very hardcore, very tough guys, seemingly, there was a group of 5 of them, engineers, and they were playing with our product, and one of them looked up and said, "This is like magic." And that was just such a kick for that. And then, of course, they then wanted to have that technology in their offerings too. So yes, I think the bar is going to rise. And in fact, there are various companies where that are trying to get this problem, this tech tool of visual search out. I think absolutely people are going to expect that this level of ability, where they can just take a picture of random things in any setting at any place, and there will just be this intelligence that will answer for them, an expert level, designer level knowledge will be available at the fingertips of a consumer. Is something that we will all learn to expect. And I think that's actually a very exciting world to live in, that we have this kind of, in the old days, there was this encyclopedia that would give you that information. And now we all have this encyclopedic knowledge just at our fingertips, not only in text, which companies like Google have been giving us that in text for a while now, but visually, where we can see anything and immediately know what it is and where to find it.
So do you think as we look towards our immediate future, we are all going to soon be searching verbally, or like what you're doing there, visually, rather than just being face down, tapping on keyboards and buttons?
The interfaces of the future are going to be completely different. Voice, as you know, is already taking over. We all use voice commands in our daily interactions and in our lives. And visual interfaces are exactly on that threshold of having that impact. And that's why all of the technology that's being developed now is particularly exciting to me. Now, when you go to a conference or you meet somebody and somebody gives you some piece of information or gives you the business card, we immediately, at least I do now, and a lot of people increasingly do this, you take a picture of it. You don't bother to type things out anymore. You take a picture and you expect that knowledge will be somewhere in your photo collections and you'll find it when you need it. That kind of visual interaction with the world, where all of us have a camera on us through our cell phones now, and we will just take pictures of things and expect that knowledge to be added into our personal repositories. That's exactly the world we're going to live in, and it's a very exciting time.
It really is, and I think we're already halfway there. Exactly like you mentioned there, if you get that business card, or there's so many other different uses, or something you need to remember, you just take a photo of it now. I know it's something I do all the time.
Exactly.
But a huge thanks for coming on today. Before I do let you go, though, could you remind the listeners of where they can find you guys online, and also contact a member of your team if they've got any questions or just want to carry on this exciting conversation we started today?
Absolutely. So we are at GrokStyle, GrokStyle.com. And just to give you actually a little etymology of that, Grok is a word that comes from a very famous science fiction novel, Strangers from a Strange Land, and a Heinlein novel. And to grok something is to understand it very deeply at some deep visceral level that is inexplicable. There's no easy way to explain how you grok things. And so that was how the name came out, that we grok style, we hope. And we would love to get people's feedback. So if you could just go to grokstyle.com, all of our contact information is there.
Fantastic. Well, a huge thanks for coming on today. I love what you're doing there. And let's be honest, anything that stops people just being face down, staring into a phone screen and actually just going out there or taking photos and just removing those pain points for purchasing decisions is a huge thing. And it's quite exciting. And like those engineers said, this feels like magic, because that's exactly how it felt when I used it. So more than anything, though, just a big thank you for coming on and sharing that story with me today.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
What an incredibly cool story, and indeed the technology behind it too. And it certainly got me thinking about visual search and using deep learning and verbally instead of just touching keys and swiping screens. Can we really be freed from these screens that capture our attention every moment of every day? I, for one, hope that one day tech becomes invisible, and all our interactions with it just become seamless, and we can get back to living our lives rather than recording it or looking at other people's. But hey, let me know your thoughts. You can email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or you can tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. So have a fantastic weekend wherever you're listening to this show, and why not send me a pic of where you listen to? I love seeing what you all get up to. But hey, we're out of time, and you've got a weekend to enjoy. So until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.